let's talk some Texas Longhorn recruiting. This game's about to kick off, and the visit list in Austin is absolutely loaded. Justice Terry, Khalid Lockett, Jamie French, Jonah Williams. The 5 stars are there. Isaiah Gibson, Riley Pettijohn. It is an absolutely loaded visit list. That's what you would expect in a game like this. Steve, what are the recruiting implications right now for Texas, Georgia?
Well, obviously for Texas, they're going to have a fantastic environment. They have a chance to test themselves against one of the best teams in the country and show recruits that, hey, again, we are the most dominant team in the land this year. If they beat Georgia tonight, there'll be no ifs, ands, or buts about who the number 1 team is in America. And for recruits, look, a lot of these guys are leaning towards Texas right now. It's a chance to have a 4th top 5 recruiting class in the last 5 years. So they're recruiting at a level that not many else are matching right now outside of the team that they're playing tonight. And so this is an opportunity for them to show that they are in the SEC and ready to compete for the SEC title right away, because their rival Oklahoma has proven otherwise. And so, we'll see what happens tonight with Texas, Georgia, but they're in great spot for a lot of these blue chippers that are visiting this weekend. They already have the number 6 recruiting class in the country. A lot of those guys will be back. And then again, these are the kind of games that really resonate with your younger players, 2026s and 2027s. They remember these ball games as they get into their recruiting process. These are what formulates where they'll visit later, where they'll come back for official visits. So just huge for Texas all the way around.
Steve, I saw on Inside Texas that they are reporting, well, at least prior to the game, that Isaiah Gibson was going to be there. He's the Georgia edge, the number 1 edge rusher in America, committed to the Dogs for a while. I haven't heard anything about him looking around. Is this just Texas allowing him to come in on a visit just to take a big swing? Or is there something going on behind the scenes that got him on campus with Texas?
Well, this is a new development on my end, Josh. But look, Justice Terry's visiting this weekend, 5-star defensive lineman on an official visit. Texas is playing in a game that not many schools can offer. Look, we are playing in one of the 2 or 3 most anticipated games in college football this season. And with that, elite players want to come to it. And maybe you're maybe it's a long shot. Maybe you're bringing them in just to see if you can make a move and then get them back for an unofficial later. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a couple guys on campus like Justice Terry where Texas trails for, and you swing your shot and see what happens coming out of it.
Hey, might as well keep them coming. This is a big one. So Isaiah Gibson, I think that he's just in town to see a great game. Now, what about Riley Pettijohn, who's committed to Ohio State? Same thing, or is there a little traction here?
Well, I talked to his dad, and he said that his son's not anywhere close to rethinking his commitment to Ohio State. But the difference between Isaiah and Riley is that Isaiah lives in the state of Georgia, and Riley is committed to Ohio State and lives in the state of Texas. And so we've been around recruiting a lot. Anytime a high-profile recruit that's committed to an out-of-region school visits the in-state powerhouse, my antenna goes up. So we'll see what happens and how Texas performs. Ohio State, very happy with that decision and that coaching staff, but that doesn't mean that they won't finish as the runner-up. We'll see what happens this weekend and beyond.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and we are just underway here, still 0-0. Recruits are probably filing into their seats as we speak. Some really important 2026 names on campus, and one of them that really sticks out to me is running back Javen Osborne, because it seems like he's been it to almost – I know he hasn't been to everyone, but he was even – he's even attended some of these road games that Texas has played in. What do you think about Javen Osborne, the number 3 rated running back in America for the 2026 class, and where things stand with Texas?
Well, he was in Ann Arbor when they smoked Michigan. That was a huge win for Texas. Michigan's one of his top schools. You see Turrentine on the list there. Texas has recruited the offensive line as well as any program in the country since Kyle Flood and Coach Sarkisian and company have gotten to Austin. It's been a huge priority. Just changing the DNA of this program, this culture. They went from a team that wasn't very physical, that maybe had some quarterbacks and some skill talent on both sides of the ball, but around the line of scrimmage, they were soft. They weren't tough. Well, they've reinvented that with some great recruiting on the offensive line and in the front seven. And he certainly fits that mold, that standard, and a guy that could come in and push all the players that they've landed in front of him. And Texas, they recruit that offensive line big. It's kind of that Sam Pittman, Georgia recipe, but they are massive up front. They have a type. And look, Texas is in a great spot for a lot of these elite 2026s. Again, looking for a fourth top 5 recruiting class in 5 years. So they are hitting all the right buttons on the trail.
And I want to bring up one more 2026 name, and that's Tyler Atkinson, the number 1 linebacker in the 2026 class. He's been around some big time games this season, and this weekend he made his way to Austin. Tyler Atkinson also heavily considering Georgia. Could be good to get him in Austin to see Justin Hill perform tonight.
No question. He likes Texas a lot. He's been there before. Ohio State's another front runner. Auburn, USC, a couple others that he's high on. But look, Texas is in the middle of this one, and they're well equipped to win blue chip battles. So we'll see how these shake out. But again, he's going to watch them play at night at home against one of his other favorite schools. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and we will have a ton of recruit reaction all week on the channel coming out of this game. You can go to On3 right now, probably as you're watching this. You could probably go on there right now and see a ton of recruit reaction from Steve Wiltfong. Use promo code FONG1, and you can get On3 for just $1. That's right, On3 for just $1. Go to on3.com and use promo code FONG1. It'll get you there. All right, Steve. We are going to talk a little bit about Javen Hilson. He's been a top prospect that's been trending heavily to Texas ever since his decommitment from Florida State. And he's back in Austin this weekend. I believe this is the second visit this season for Hilson to Texas. So things are heating up here. Is anybody else really giving Texas a run for their money on Javen Hilson?
Well, his recruitment's been fluid, but right now I think Texas is clearly the one to beat, and they're getting him back on campus. They're doing all the right things on the field. He loves Coach PK and that scheme and talking football with him, and feels very comfortable in the way he would potentially fit on within Texas's scheme. And again, they're playing at a high level, and these are the kind of games he sees himself playing. And I love where Texas is positioned for Javen Hilson. And they're putting together a terrific defensive class. I mean, you got a defensive line class when you look at guys like Myron Charles being in the fold for them already. And just, again, the way that they've recruited up front. Lance Jackson's obviously one of the jewels of the class. When you talk about Lance Jackson and Myron Charles, Josiah Sharma, that's another really talented point of attack class. And if you can add Javen Hilson to it, it becomes really special.
Yeah, and it's great that they have all these big-time commitments on campus, including like a Khalik Lockett, Jamie French, Jonah Williams. I mean, that's got to add to an already electric atmosphere and help Texas on the recruiting trail with some of these flip targets, don't you think, Steve?
Yeah, absolutely. And you bring up Jonah Williams and Elijah Barnes. Those are guys that shore up the middle of your defense, guys that are very versatile players in space that find the football, instinctive space eaters. Jonah Williams is arguably the best defensive prospect in the entire class with what he brings to the table as a Swiss Army knife on the back end and how athletic he is. So Texas is going to be playing in these games for years to come. Who's going to be joining the fold moving forward? Wouldn't be surprised if it's a few of the guys that we see on campus tonight in 2025. And certainly a lot of these 2026s and 2027s will ultimately be Longhorns.
That's right. All right, Texas fans, talk to us. Game's going on right now, but recruit reaction will be plenty. Who are you thinking could be the next Texas commit? Anybody that's on campus? Also, who's your top flip target? Let us know in the comment section below.